when you go on the road trip and driving in the car, and you're passing by maybe you're passing by many historical sites, then you didn't know that, you didn't even know they exist. So how do you retrieve that kind of information? It's very hard. So that's why there's a new startup that is working on this. They are pushing you some information notifications. It's not like they're pushing you some streaming of stories of those historical sites, those historical places, the histories, the stories about them. And this startup is called Hear Me, HearHere. Basically, it's hear the stories here. It's a road trip app. This their service to push information to drivers when they are driving. I think that's super neat ideas. I never thought of this before, and I think it will work. I will tell you why. And their model is subscription based model. I think $35 a year, and they will kind of push the 3 to 5 minute stories about your surroundings for you. So when maybe you drive through a very historical bridge, and you will just you didn't know that you just drive it through, because when you do a road trip, it's kind of random. You maybe across the country, then the road is super long. It's impossible for you to Google every science, every stories about every different sites in advance. Is almost impossible, and sometimes you didn't even know they exist. So that's why like those kind of pushing back, like streaming, it's like a audio feed. It's very very useful, and I would really like it. And they want to connect people to places they are driving through. I think that's a really good idea. And how they build out those content. The content is definitely key to success for this kind of app. If you don't have quality content, you won't be able to succeed. And how do the company build this kind of content? There are three choices basically. You can hire a lot of professional journalists or tour guides to generate such content. They can do voiceover and they can write the content. And second one is you can just scraping information online from the internet and just assemble them together. Maybe use some narrators, or you use AI to generate voice. And third one is you use a community to build that. You use that as a platform. Everyone can upload their description of the story, the places, and you maybe pay some small amount of money to those people. It's platform based. The platform based problem is a cold start. If initially you don't have any content, how can you attract those people to upload their content as well? And you won't be able to pay them because you don't have money. Usually this kind of model is if their content got more view, they got some more money. But how can their content get view if you don't have content initially on the platform? So that's why Hear Me, they use an approach which is hire professional to produce content. So they are currently a team of 22 researchers, writers, editors, and narrators, and they produce high quality content across a lot of different states. Still not nationwide, but they're going to. And they say they will be opening to like third parties. I think they will be probably like for everyone will be able to upload their stories. I'm not really sure what does the third party mean here, but it's at least like the broader range of creators. And probably it's like you need to sign up for their creator programs or things like that. And the interesting thing about this geolocation based apps, basically pushing content, is actually there's this one investor of this company is actually also investor of Detour. Detour is a very similar app, but it's for walking. So it's like when you walk through the city, then they will push some information to you. Maybe you wear earphones, then they'll push stories of the historical sites that you're just walking through to you of the city you are walking around. It just looks super interesting. The problem with this app is really it looks interesting, but it fails to get a engagement of user. And actually, the co-founder of this company, HearHere, they say the crucial difference between these two apps, I think that's very, very beautifully put. It's when you walk around the city, you have too many other things to do, because you can basically, you don't want to hear the audio all the time, right? It's just so distracting. But when you do a road trip, you're driving, you have no choice but sitting in the car. And what else can you do while driving? You only can listen something, right? Since you're listening to something, why don't you listen to some stories about the places you're driving through? And when you're walking, you don't necessarily need to listen to something. That's just so weird. And you can be walking with your friends, right? Walking with your friends, and you use when you're walking with your friends, you use the headsets. That's just so weird and so unnatural. It's not what people do. But when you're driving a car with your friends, you definitely will turn on some music. Then why don't you turn on this kind of audio streaming of the location stories? And I guess this service is not like always. It's not like always streaming certain things. Only when you're driving something meaningful, they will broadcast things to you. So you can still listen to your road trip music, and they will just automatically cut the music and broadcast some interesting stories about places you're driving through. So that's a very, very different situation in this Detour and Hear Me. I think that's so beautifully put. And yeah, the way he analyzed the why Detour failed to gain traction is super meaningful. He really went through this, so he understands the deep, real reasons behind why Detour, this kind of app wouldn't work. Yeah, actually there are a lot of Detour such kind of apps. They also fail to gain traction. But I never thought of it. You can apply the same model, same mechanisms to driving, to road trips. So that's super, super interesting idea and the startups, and they just still in the seed round. I think there's 1.6 million funding raise. Okay, so yeah, let's just pay more, keep eye on this startup. It's super cool, and if I have chance to use, I will probably subscribe. That's if it really can give me very quality content. Alright, so that's all for today. If you would like to receive more content, don't forget to subscribe. And other than that, I'll see you next time.